Greetings, I am Erin Patton, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, y'all. I'm Erin Patton, also known as Master L, and welcome to today's live episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast. And we are live across all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I am Erin Patton. So wherever you at on Instagram, social media, you find me. So hey, y'all, for joining and coming into the room. I see y'all coming into the room. Mic check. I'm sounding good. All's good. All's great. Happy Wednesday. And yeah, I'm just happy to be with you all today. And today's episode was inspired by Mother's Day. And, if you haven't already, I just want to drop a request to subscribe to my channel, share this video if it resonates with you, and certainly leave a comment as I'm going, because I love to hear from you guys as I'm in the mix and conversation, because it's nice to kind of get the feedback and respond to you guys. And as I mentioned before, today's episode is special because it's inspired by Mother's Day. I am a mother. I've been a mother now for 6 years because I consider kind of the pregnancy, time to also be part of that motherhood journey. And thank you for the heart. Sending love to you guys too. Thank you. You guys can hear me well and see me well. And being a mother is amazing and chaotic and stressful and, rewarding and inspiring, and lessons on lessons on lessons on lessons. And I'm just wanting to get a little bit deeper into the conversation around motherhood, because actually my soul template, which we can talk more about too, if that interests you guys, includes divine motherhood. And being an earth mother, having the nurturing qualities. And I'm laughing because this is also a part of the journey to motherhood that I'm going to talk about, because, the emotional whiplash of going from a career first to baby first in 9 short months is crazy. So the emotional whiplash of going from career first to baby first is crazy. Okay, guys. In 9 short months, it's insane. And so I say all this because I had this divine mother template in my soul, architecture, not knowing that, of course, because I always grew up, putting school first, academics first, putting my career first. My mom always told me to make sure I had a job and, got all my degrees and, dated around, what is it? From Coming to America, sowed my royal oats. And, even like getting a husband was not even like pushed upon me, or having a baby, certainly not. So I really went from this, I don't do kids, to then like by essentially my mid 30s, if you will, or I just started feeling this urge that, wow, I really need to have a child, because something in me just felt like there was something to learn from it, and that there was something missing from me by not having that experience. I felt, first of all, like I was too selfish, like I had only been thinking about myself and, my goals, my career, and I wasn't thinking about anybody else. Like, of course, like my parents I cared about, but at the end of the day, there was no one else that I was considering in my life. And so it felt to me like a natural evolutionary step. And I'm so glad that I had that consciousness, because, I have to just say this, and this can be a whole other conversation, but by the time I turned 18, I decided I wanted to get on birth control. And I pretty much was on birth control my entire adult life until I had Harlow. And not only was I taking the pill, by the time I got to New York and was in my mid 20s and IUDs came out, I was like, oh my God, I never have to have my period. So then I got on the IUD and I was on an IUD for nearly 10 years. So I never had a menstrual cycle for 10 years. And to me, at some point, that felt unnatural. It felt not normal. And honestly, as I look back, I know that it was taking away from my femininity. It was taking away from my womanness. And it was really aligning me to a more masculine existence, which I very much operated in and was exceeding in, and not having that feminine urge and experience and estrogen was really contributing to that. And I've never talked about this really like this before, actually. It's just something that I've just come to like think about and, just ponder over, like really like what that experience was like to just be not able to like have a menstrual cycle, which fundamentally the uterus and the menstrual cycle makes us woman. And we'll get into that a little bit more in today's podcast, but I'm just really just blown away that I was able to get pregnant so easily. And, obviously it wasn't God's plan for me and my soul journey, yet the whole physicality aspect and mentality aspect around it was I don't do kids, period. And so I don't know how many other people out there had this experience or had different experiences with birth control or being told not to have kids, and kind of just like the stigmas around motherhood, particularly being a mother at a young age or being a mother before you finish college. How dare you? And so I think that this is something that I just kind of wanted to walk through, because the journey to motherhood in modern society, it looks very different for generations now than it has for 100 centuries, maybe even millennia. And we are just so programmed and conditioned around this not having kids journey. And so I kind of want to move more into then, when we do decide to have children, what does this role of a mother look like, essentially? And I found these interesting. Please expound on the masculine experience. Oh, I'd be happy to, actually, because, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts, because I was in business school. I was very a masculine dominated space. And, I mean, even though at Harvard, where I went to business school, they try to keep the ratios 50-50. Generally in management roles and leadership roles in business, it's predominantly male, and it's predominantly skews male, not certainly of color. And so I was really operating in a very, I would say, like white male environment, conditioned for. Like most of our professors were of that background and came from that experience. And certainly there were women there who I gravitated to, but we're wearing suits and we're speaking up. Like 50% of our grade in business school was, speaking out. So when I transitioned to corporate America, I worked at a foundation after philanthropy, but still in a very corporate setting. We were really, I was working predominantly with males, and we were, operating in a very masculine way, just like getting things done. And I can skip to this in a little bit. We'll talk about the difference between the masculine energy and the feminine energy, because I think a lot of times people get that confused and they don't understand that you can be a woman and still operating in your masculine, or you can be a man and operating in your feminine. I think the gender thing has us all kind of fucked up around here, but we'll get past that. But certainly I was operating in a more masculine context, and certainly not having, like I said, being on an IUD and menstruating and not, having the estrogen, and on top of that, having the conditioning around the masculine, being in the masculine in the workplace, really contributed to that. So that's why I was saying that. So thank you for asking me to expound on that, because it certainly was just a blanket statement that I assumed people understood me and where I come from and my background. Yet transitioning from that into being a mother, which meant me being at home, and actually the whole world ended up being at home because I got pregnant in 2019. So I was pretty much homebound, and I had moved back to Houston. I was helping to take care of my mom. I was, in a semi relationship, also pregnant. So I was homebound. Then COVID hit in 2020. My son was like 2, 3 months old. So I really was homebound. And so being more in a nurturing, homey environment really started to shift my whole concept of what it means to be a mother. And then I started to realize that mothers just don't feed children. They feed confidence, they feed resilience and identity. So mothers just don't feed children food. We also feed children confidence and resilience and intelligence and the nurturing. We teach, we're the first teachers, essentially. And so being able to understand this, because obviously I did not understand this when I started my motherhood journey. It was very much touch and go. I was just figuring it out day by day by day, day by day by day by day. And, I wanted to bring this up because I really found this to be beautiful. I found this on internet that moms are our first sound healers. Like, this is so beautiful. We're going to walk through this. And how mom's voice and vibrations heal us. Look at this. When we're as babies, increases brain activation, increases oxytocin production. It improves sleep. It stabilizes the heart rate. It decreases cortisol, which is the stress chemical. It reduces pain. Like, even to this day, I swear to God, when my son stubs his toe or hits his knee or his head, I'll just kiss it and say, "Oh, baby, here are the big boy, here are the healing hands. We're going to feel better. You're going to feel better." And literally within a few seconds, he's like, "Oh, I'm better." So literally, like, I believe that it does certainly reduces the pain. It supports oxygen saturation, regulates breathing. It builds language foundation, obviously, because we're speaking. So the mom's voice and vibration is very powerful. And there's evidence that backs this. And here is the evidence around the oxytocin production and the lowering of the cortisol. Girls who hear their mother's voice, either in person or by phone, had 30% less cortisol and higher oxytocin levels after doing a stressful task compared to texting, which had no benefits. So it's like when you call your mom when something's going wrong, like, "Mom, help me," like, just by her saying, like, "Hey, baby, like, what's going on?" Like, automatically you're like, "That's all I needed, just to hear my mama's voice." And so I already know, like, this is a thing because that was certainly me for a long time. And the power of the mom's voice in the brain. So a study found an incredible 200% increase in children's brain activation when hearing their mom's voice versus a stranger's. So areas like the auditorial cortex, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the rearward center lit up. This activation pattern is so unique that it has been termed the neural footprint. So mothers literally have a neural footprint in their children's brains. So as soon as you hear it, it immediately activates. So that to me is just like phenomenal. And then this is the part that really just takes it to the whole next level, is the throat womb connection. So the throat and the uterus originate from the same embryonic tissue. You guys, this is amazing. Come on, God. And they're deeply connected through the vagus nerve, which helps to regulate our nervous system. So during labor, mothers instinctively vocalize, which we know, we've seen it, we heard it. I screamed a lot, or tone. So we're like, "Oh, Lamaze," we're either breathing, we're yelling. So using sound to help open the body and bring the baby into this world, you guys. This is beautiful. So the throat is the seat of truth. We all know the throat chakra is our truth center. And the womb is the seat of creation, our sacral chakra, our creativity center. So when one is blocked, the other one is often blocked too. Didn't make this up. I didn't make this up. This is science. This is evidence. Come on, science and evidence. I hope y'all are watching this and listening to this and loving this. But anyway, I just had to talk about this science behind the role of the mother and also getting more into this masculine versus feminine, because I had brought this up before. And so masculine traits, when someone asked me to please expound about the masculine experience, business especially requires boldness, directness, dominance, resilience, ambition, protectiveness. As we always say, the male is a protector, the masculine energy is protecting, of course. On the feminine side, there's poise, there's tactfulness. And you guys, I'm not lying, I had to look this up. Tactfulness means to act with sensitivity, with care. Influence is a feminine trait. Adaptability is a feminine trait. Aspiration and nurturing. So no, this does not necessarily have to do with gender. Remember that we're talking certainly around masculine and feminine traits. We can all have these traits. We just have to know where they derive from in our being. We have the balance in ourselves, both balance the masculine and the feminine within ourselves. So I just wanted to kind of just like elucidate more around this role of the mother and what it really means sort of in our lives. And so how we can start to anchor more deeply into how that transition from the womb to being the tactful one or the adaptable one or the more, sensitive one, how we can really understand that role of the mother in the early years, especially. I know for me and working with my son is 5 years old. I've certainly learned how to be more nurturing. When I talk to you guys about that healing story and just being able to put my healing hands on his little boo-boo, like it helps him to feel safe, which in many ways is a masculine trait, that protection. And so, as our children are growing, and, I'm not there yet, I always, speak out where I'm at and, also meet people where they are. Children grow up and they become preteens, they become teenagers, and then they become adults, of course. And I can only speak from my child perspective in this role, but I know as I was growing up, my parents never changed how they interacted with me. It was always a mother-daughter, father-daughter role. And, I was 30 years old, still calling my parents, mama, daddy, like, help me, like I was still playing that junior role to them. And in reality, at least in my reality, I don't expect to be that way with my son, certainly because he's a grown-ass man. And there has to come a point where we transition out of that trying to control, tell the kids what to do, to then becoming more of a guide, a partner in their life. And this is something too that I try to practice now. Even though my son is 5 years old, like the controlling, not possible. So I have to kind of take on more of this guiding role, this reasoning role, this conscious role, if you will. And I know that this is hotly debated topic, I'm sure. And I if you have, different experiences, please drop them in the comments, because, we've really, particularly the millennial generation, have been treated like children for, ever. And our poor parents just haven't been able to relinquish that control energy over us. It's really kind of just like pleasing them and making them happy. And that's certainly not how we want to be as with our adult children. We don't want them to have to please us in order to earn our love, if you will. It's not a performance here. This is unconditional right here. And that should be felt and that should be received also by the child. So I certainly think that it's an exploration, if you will, of how we move from this children, preteen, teen to adult role as parents, and how we parent and how we show up as guides, as soul guides, because we're just here to impart our experiences, our lessons, so that they can have it a little bit easier. Because we all know, of course, we learn through experience, so they have to have their own lessons, but certainly they don't have to have the hard ones that we had. And we want to be able to have those open conversations, those honest conversations, those truth conversations with our children as much as possible, as often as possible, and as authentically as possible. And so, essentially, as a mother, we have to understand, how do we go from shifting to giving instructions to giving space? So essentially, as a mother, we have to really understand how we go from that controlling shifting out of that to giving more space and more breath in how we parent and how we interact with our children. And with that, I want us to move into a meditation because I think this is a perfect opportunity to really start to integrate all that I've shared here in a way that can not only be felt by words, because I really feel like I'm an energy worker. I work with the energies. I work with the energies, okay? And so we really want to be able to take what we've been talking about here, the science, the evidence, the experiences, the lessons, and start to integrate it in a way where it can harmonize in our being. It can harmonize in our soul, and we can be able to move and breathe. And in many ways, unconsciously start to exercise that which we're thinking about and talking about today. Because the thing about this life, everyday life, is that yes, we want to be able to know and be conscious and aware of all that we're doing, but oftentimes we're moving so quickly, we're moving fast, that things are happening on autopilot. And the more that we're able to shift our vibration and shift our energy, that autopilot becomes more exact, it becomes more precise, it operates on a higher level. And that comes through intentional meditation, it comes through the affirmations, it comes through consciously working with our energy. So let's go ahead and get into that. So I just want to encourage you all to find a comfortable position, whether you want to lie down, you want to sit up. If you're in your car, just make sure you're relaxed if you're driving, or if you're want to pull over and just stop, chill. Okay. This is an opportunity really to connect back to yourself. Okay. I just really want you to be fully present. So if you can, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and then release it. Allow your body to settle in and your mind to get quiet. As you continue to breathe deeply, bring awareness to your core self. The woman who exists beneath the role of the mother. Feel the essence of who you are, your values, your dreams, your wisdom. Breathe in authenticity. Breathe out expectation. Notice any tension between who you truly are and how you believe a mother should be. And with each breath, allow that tension to dissolve. Your authentic self is precisely the mother your child needs. Breathe in acceptance. Breathe out judgment. Now bring awareness to the sacred role that you hold as a mother, because it is very sacred. No one else can mother your child the way that you do, period. Your intuition, your voice, your touch, they are uniquely calibrated to your child's needs. So breathe in that confidence and breathe out self-doubt. Feel the strength of your nurturing presence, even when you're tired, even when you're overwhelmed. Your healing feminine energy creates safety and belonging for your child. This gift flows through you naturally, sis. So breathe in that nurturing energy and breathe out depletion. And bring your mind to your child as they are today. See them clearly, not as you wish them to be, not as they were yesterday, but exactly as they are in this very moment. Breathe in clarity. Breathe out distraction. What does your child need from you right now? not from the mother you think they should be, but from the mother that you authentically are. And listen deeply for the answer that resonates with you. Breathe in receptivity, breathe out assumption. Feel what it means to be fully present with your child. Not perfect, not with all the answers, but completely available, mentally, emotionally, spiritually present for this unique human being. Breathe in presence, breathe out fragmentation. Now, visualize your child growing and changing before your eyes. From an infant to a toddler, to a child, to a teen, and to an adult. With each stage, feel your mothering role shifting and evolving. Breathe in flexibility. Breathe out rigidity, forcefulness, control. Breathe that shit out. Notice how your child's growth calls forth new aspects of yourself, how their independence invites your trust, how their questions summon your wisdom, how their struggles activates your compassion. Breathe in growth. Breathe out stagnation. Feel the dance of your evolution together. Sometimes leading, sometimes following, always growing. This is the ultimate gift of motherhood. The invitation to evolve alongside your child. Breathe in transformation. Breathe out resistance. Now, as we close this meditation, I want you to set an intention for how you will show up today as the mother your child needs. The mother your child needs right now. Choose one quality to embody, whether it be presence or patience, playfulness. That's one I have to go for all the time with my little one. Wisdom, whatever you feel most aligned to, especially at your child's age. And now take a final deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring awareness back to your body. Bring awareness back to this moment. And carry this intention with you. And I want to be able to read this for you guys because I want you to remember that the mother who evolves with her child is teaching the most powerful lesson of all. And it's how to remain authentic while continually growing. And that's something that I wanted to make sure that we left with. If we don't take anything else away from this conversation today, this talk today is around your authenticity and how you choose to be in your child's presence, because that's exactly who he or who she needs, is you, just as you are. So I hope that this meditation and this message blesses mothers out there for I call this Mother's Week of Wisdom, so that we can really rise to our highest calling as mothers, as leaders of this planet, Earth mothers. Like I said, we're not just mothers to our children, we're mothers for this planet. And we always say Mother Earth, we are the physical embodiment of her. And so we must be able to carry that light to the fullest. And by pouring into ourselves, questioning our role as mothers, improving our role as mothers, and increasing our capacity as mothers is what we want to do. I remember, and I have to share this, y'all. When I was with my mom on Mother's Day on Sunday, I said a prayer with her. And I said a prayer for all mothers on earth because I just remembered how hard it was for her. It was just hard. And Mother's Day actually was kind of a hard, challenging day for me too this year. But I was telling my mom and praying, I was just like, I don't want to feel the anxiety of motherhood on challenging days. I still want to be in my power on those challenging days. I still want to be in gratitude on those challenging days. I don't want to resent my baby. I don't want to resent what I chose. I don't want to resent what I have to do. And so my prayer and my wish for all mothers on this earth is that we carry that in us as mothers, is that we don't resent the choices we've made. We act in these challenging moments with power, with love, and with a sound mind. Okay? So I hope that you all can join me in that prayer for mothers around the world, that we enjoy this experience. We have joy in the experience of motherhood. It is not anything that weighs us down or steals our beauty. If anything, it lifts us up and makes us more beautiful. Okay? So that is my prayer for mothers around the world this Mother's Day week, this Mother's Week of Wisdom. Okay, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. If you resonate with my messages, I highly encourage you to leave a comment and certainly follow me at I am Erin Patton across social media platforms. And I am launching a new accelerator program in the next few weeks called the Soulful Accelerator. If you're interested, certainly go to my website, erinpatton.com, to learn more. Or if you want to sign up directly for the accelerator, you can just go to upgrade.erinpatton.com. And I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in, for the loves, for the hearts, and for the questions. And until next week, I love you all so much. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatton.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.